Hey everyone, it's Ignignot. So we got a big box in. I figured I'd share just to give you an idea of how large this thing is. About as tall as the Vuelix up to the control panel. So let's see what we have. A lot of packing in here. Try to do my best to capture this. This is like everything they had lying around. This came from a pawn shop in Florida. So, looks like it's been wrapped by someone working at a pawn shop in Florida. I don't have my scissors here, but these tweezers should do. I know what's below in the big bin, but I don't know what's in here. So this will be a bit of a surprising one for me. Okay. Alright, well, I figured out what's in here. Oh, that's heavy. What is that? There's something in here. Okay, so we got... What do we got? Ready to rumble boxing. This is the good version because it's hot and new. Nice, complete. This will be something you want to pay attention to because that'll be a clue as to what's coming. So let's see what else we got. No manual on this guy, but we got a copy of Silent Scope. I've actually never played this before, but it's always been one of those like C-rated looking games that I've wanted to try, but just everything else kind of comes before it, and I never do. And then we have the illustrious NFL Blitz 2000, which is a really fun game. So you might be able to tell what's coming up here shortly. Before that, though, we have this thing that fell and hit my foot, which is a jump pack, or rumble pack, or whatever you want to call it. So, weirdly enough, we didn't get the actual Sega branded ones here in the United States. They're released in Japan. I don't know if it's released in Europe, but we tended to get these. This is the one that I had back then. I remember feeling like this must be some sort of cheap piece of crap and always wanting the actual one from Japan. And then I got one a couple years ago, and turns out it's not nearly as strong as this. So we actually got a better one, despite it coming from a pretty crappy company. So these performance brand rumble packs are actually pretty good. So I'll put that off to the side here. All right. It looks like what's next is basically it. So I'll do my best to take this out without damaging anything. And yeah, that seems to be all that's in there. I'll double check it in a second here, but until then, let's go ahead and move this off to the side. So, bit of a clue here. We have an actual rental Sega Dreamcast from a little, mom and pop place called Movie Gallery. I guess it was from Indiana at some point. Actually, that's right. It was from Indiana. I don't know why I thought it was Florida. So here we have it. Okay, yeah, fair enough to him. He actually wrapped it. So thank you, Mr. Man, who's not watching. It's in good shape, actually. It's not yellowed. I'm assuming we just have a line in. Yeah. I wouldn't be that lucky, would I? But yeah, it's still got the barcode there for when you check it out of the rental place. And I'm gonna keep all this. Like, this is history. And this will be my Sega Dreamcast going forward. In a nice little case. Let's dig in and see what else we got here. Looks like it's just controllers. I wonder if there's a power cable in there. I'll have to go check. Okay, so these cases were third-party cases, as you can see here. I can't speak for PlayStation, but I know for a fact that these were built to house Dreamcast and N64, hence why it has the trident little thing. So yeah. Oh wow, joystick feels great. A little bit of a ding right there. Some dirt. But the triggers actually feel good. Face buttons feel good. D-pad still feels good. And the joystick feels like it's brand new. So these controllers are a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes you get ones and they just feel terrible. Okay, so this joystick feels pretty good. It's not as tight as the other one. But the shell is nicer. And it's a little cleaner. Triggers feel great. Actually, you know, honestly, this feels like a normal Dreamcast joystick. This just feels like it's never been used. So yeah, I did pretty well on here. I just need to go in and clean it up. There's some dirt. Probably some dirt on the sides. There's always dirt on the sides in that groove when people's hands sweat. But yeah, for a rental system, I mean, I would have imagined that people would have treated these rental systems for the most part pretty poorly. So this is actually in really good shape. Put that back here. Yeah, it might have fit PlayStation because the Dreamcast fits in this first square. This here obviously seems like the profile of a 64. This has to be this wider one. I don't have a PlayStation on hand. I have one coming, but yeah, it's got to be a PlayStation because PlayStation's pretty wide. I don't think a Saturn would fit in there, so I doubt it's for that. And I doubt that they would make this thing for two different generations of Sega. So yeah, not really sure what you're supposed to do with these cables. I guess they just kind of get smushed in there somewhere, like in here. But yeah, the foam on the top is in really good shape. A lot of times you find these cases and they're all just ripped out and buggered to hell. So let's see if there's a power cable in here. This looks like a painter's tarp for if you're like painting your home is in here. Very weird packing material to be used for sure. Well, I have good news on that front, and I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. So I found one of these in anticipation of this, just in case. At a Goodwill. That should fit. Yep. Fits just fine. Just so you know, the power jack, it's like a square to round barrel jack. If you get the ones that are just like the figure 8 barrel and barrel instead of square and barrel, they'll fit both barrel and square and barrel jacks. So I don't know the technical terms, but you get my point. So that's always good to get those. I pick them up whenever I see them. There's actually another one sitting over there along with a PlayStation 1 power supply, which whenever you find those, definitely pick them up. So I found this is the piece of cardboard that was on top of the system before. And I was kind of just thinking it was packing supplies, but turns out there's actually something in here. I know this because I knew it was supposed to come with this, and I didn't find it in the box. So this is the actual original purchase receipt. November 2000 for $99.99. Pretty cool. Let's put this off to the side just for a second. I want to show you where I'm going with this and why getting these games, while nice, it doesn't really matter. This is from Laser Bear, and this is a mount for a mode. And I actually was able to find a mode recently. And I'll be actually hooking this up to an SSD hard drive I have coming in tomorrow. And then I'll just load it up with ROMs, and that'll be that. As far as this box here goes, these are now being sold on AliExpress, but you can get them, they're called like Game Gems or something like that. But this was even cheaper than that, so I picked it up. This is an HDMI out board. So a DC HDMI, or a digital, like a DC digital, that's what they used to be called. And they give you all the parts you need. There's a ribbon cable that you have to solder on, and have someone helping you with that, which is great. All these little parts, you get the small HDMI to large HDMI converter, and that you can get them for I think around like 60-70 bucks right now, which is definitely worth it. So this thing will have HDMI out. I'll plug it into my monitor, my large super ultra wide here, so I can play on actual hardware, and I won't have to worry about game discs because I'll have the mode. So that's the future of this system. Obviously I'm going to keep the case, keep the system and everything. I felt like it was a nice little piece of history, and these are getting harder and harder to find. And I like the fact that it came from a mom and pop place instead of like a Blockbuster or something like that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Igniting Not out.